Hello and welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and the process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I got to sit down with the Raleigh indie rock band Arson Daily. Without any further ado, here's the interview. So Zach, can you tell me a little bit, just you personally, how did you get into music?
I got into music, I'd probably say because of my sister. My sister is like the only musically inclined person in my family, and she was learning piano and a bunch of different random things, and also a very talented singer. And I just kind of like started getting involved with that with her. But it wasn't until I was maybe 12 or 13 that I decided I wanted to start playing guitar. And I just started playing guitar. I was really influenced a lot by, coincidentally, John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I was learning a lot of their songs, and then I just heard like 2 days ago or whatever that he rejoined that band.
For sure, yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. But anyway, I just started playing guitar, and I realized that I liked writing songs. Started writing a lot of lyrics in high school and stuff, and just tried to make like a really serious hobby out of it. I didn't really think anything of it. And then me and my friend Chip, who was living with Adam, started writing music together, and I just started taking it like very, very seriously to the point where I decided that I wanted to go to school for it. And so I went to App State and studied music marketing and music promoting there with a business minor, and I studied classical guitar in college. And at that point, I was just like, man, Arson Daily is like, I'm going to take this seriously. And then we all just decided not to go pursue the careers that we had intended on pursuing out of college. And then we moved to Raleigh. And that's kind of like the whole story. Is it just kind of started out as like a hobby, and then it became more and more serious over time.
Well, dang. I actually didn't know you had a business background. That makes total sense because, I mean, anybody that's specifically around Raleigh has most certainly heard about you guys. And, I mean, I personally can't go anywhere. We were talking a little bit before the interview about, like, I can't go anywhere without, like, either seeing your name, seeing you on social media, or, like, you know, hearing your music around, like, seeing you guys play a sold-out show around. So, obviously, I think you're probably the brains behind that if you have the business mind. So,
I definitely am the one most concerned about it. Not that that's like an issue or anything. It's just I enjoy doing it, and I feel like I have the resources and the people that my friends that can help me get answers to things that I need.
But the other guys in the band, how did you meet them? I believe we got Mr. Adam McLean and Quincy Platt.
So yeah, Quincy and I met. I think of our relationship, the fact that we met is kind of like by chance. It's very weird how we met. So I went to high school for 5 years. I went to an early college, and so I had to stay an extra year. And one of my best friends in high school, he didn't stay that 5th year. He decided he was going to go to college early, and he went to ECU. I'm from New Bern, so ECU and New Bern are like 45 minutes away from each other. So my 5th year of high school, I was going to Greenville a lot to party because there was nothing to do in New Bern, and I was hanging out in Greenville a lot, which is where Quincy was going to school. And it turns out that one of my best friends was rooming with somebody that was rooming with Quincy, and I would go over there and hang out, and I'd hear this guy like listening to bands that I knew that not a lot of people knew, and I started talking to him about music, and he was a bass player and he wrote his own stuff, and we ended up talking. He said that he was transferring to App State, and I said, well, that's funny because that's where I'm about to go next year as soon as I finish this last year of school, and I have a friend up there who's living with the drummer. Like, we should just start a band as soon as we get there. And at this point, I hadn't even met Adam, but maybe one time, and it was through passing, just by hanging out with my other friend Chip. And as soon as we got there, we just started hanging out. It was kind of weird. It was almost like a play date. You know, you're like, you're about to be in a band with somebody, but you don't really know them just yet.
Yeah.
So it was sort of organized. And so, like, pretty much since the beginning of the band, like, Adam and I, like, we met basically through Arson Daily, and we've been friends since then, like basically through college. And then Chip who isn't in the band anymore. He was like one of the original like 4 members of the band. He is obviously no longer in the band, but we're still really good friends with him, and we ended up being in a band with him for like 2.5 years or whatever. So the 4 of us were kind of the founding members of the band at App State. We're practicing a lot in like a basement in our friend's house up in Boone.
So I think you should probably mention the name, Arson Daily.
Right.
We've been talking about the station. I don't know if there's a story behind this. When I heard it, my first thought was Carson Daly. Like, it came from his name, and I assume that's what it is, but I imagine there's more to it. But it might not be. I don't know. Where did it come from?
So speaking of Chip, this was his creation. We chose to honor it after he left. But we have nothing to do with the name. It's very funny. He was just like writing all these names down in the notes section of his phone, and we would periodically just be like, because we were playing music and we wanted to have a Facebook page and stuff. We were like, all right, what are we gonna call ourselves now? Like, we gotta figure this out so we can put ourselves out there. What we were trying to do was make a demo for the Battle of the Bands at App State, because in order to compete, you had to submit a demo. And so we were like, all right, we got to figure all this stuff out. And he was just coming up with names every day. And I think it was almost like at a point of just giving up that we picked that name because it was funny. We were just looking at all these names and we're like, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. Arson Daily, that's kind of funny. And I'm not even going to lie to you, I didn't even know what the reference was to. I didn't know who Carson Daly was when I originally read that, if I'm being totally honest. But after he explained it to me, it made it even more funny. And we all just kind of clicked with that name first. And we've gone through some periods of hating the name and loving the name. But it's really funny watching it sort of evolve, because Arson Daily is obviously a play on like a person's name. So Arson Daily kind of sounds like somebody's name. But then you get people who come up to us after the show and they're like, Arson Daily, does that mean like you guys burn things every day? Are you guys insinuating that you smoke weed every day? Are you guys like, is somebody named Arson? Just like completely oblivious to TRL and who Carson Daly is. So it's funny at this point. And we get emails. People are like, Dear Arson. And it's kind of a head scratcher. Like, do you really think somebody in this band is named Arson? I gotta know.
Your sound, I mean, is just a really interesting blend of like this kind of trashy garage rock mixed with like this really nice kind of polished indie thing that's happening now, mixed with like some pop elements to it. Your lyricism especially is like it's very pop driven, and that's why probably it's so catchy and it's stuck in my head. How did you go about developing the sound? Is this like something that you kind of had in your head and you kind of wanted to get on there, or was it something that you kind of all bounced in between each other? Did you go in kind of knowing how it wanted to go, or like did it just flow out? I don't know. Tell me.
When we started off the band, it was very much like blues rock. Like, we wanted to play like a lot of stuff in the vein of like Cage the Elephant, like early Cage the Elephant and Black Keys, and like really into Arctic Monkeys. So it was a little dark. It was kind of dark toned stuff. And then over time, we developed more into like a surf sort of vibe. And I think we took the best parts of those elements and kind of tucked them underneath like in a subgenre. And now we're just kind of trying to brand ourselves as just indie rock. But there's obviously, like you mentioned, there's a lot of pop elements to it. I consider myself, like when I write songs, I consider myself to be a pop songwriter. I don't usually go too far outside the box when it comes to song structure. I do like an intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, and a chorus, and a bridge somewhere tucked in there. So when it comes to structure, I definitely write pop songs. But as far as like tonality and like genre and whatnot, things have developed a lot with this last record that we have been working on. For a while, when we would write with all of our electric instruments and try and kind of like work from the top down, like let's get everything that we want to like have in our recording done in the practice space. And that really wasn't working for us. We were getting a lot of clutter and stuff. Like we were trying to be like this sort of like psychedelic garage rock band. We thought that was like what we wanted to be, and kind of took a step back and realized that it was cluttered and it was messy and it wasn't really utilizing anybody's like best ability for their individual musicianship, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what we started to do is we started to write all of our songs kind of acoustically, so that we could focus more on melodies and the vocals. And so for these last few songs we've had that we put out, like we put out a song today and we put out a song a few weeks ago, they've been vocal driven, sort of like pop songs, but they're still indie rock.
The biggest reason I'm talking to you now is because you put out some new music, and specifically you have a new music video. I believe it's for the song Pipe Dream. When I saw it, like, first off, I love the 16mm stuff in it. I'm a big analog guy. I love that stuff. Can you tell me how exactly you came about getting that music video going? Like, was that y'all's idea, or was it your director's idea? I don't know how it came about.
So Zach Strum, he is sort of like a longtime like family friend of Adam, or Adam, I guess is. Adam grew up with his little brother and him at the same time, basically, and so Adam has known the guy who directed our music video like his whole life, pretty much. And so as we've been a band for about 5 years now. He's always been a filmmaker, and at some point or another, I guess Adam and him talked, and they were like, okay, yeah, we'll definitely do a music video at some point. Like, whenever you guys are ready to release music, like, we'll get something going for you guys because we want to collaborate or whatever. And we finally got a batch of songs. We had 5 songs after we did our first tracking session back in March. And we sent it to him, and we were like, all right, what do you want to do? Like, which one of these songs do you want to make a music video for? And he originally said Signs, which is the song we released today, and he retracted his statement. He was like, never mind, I want to do Pipe Dream. And we were like, okay, cool. And we started talking to him about ideas, and we, considering his experience in filmmaking, we kind of wanted to let him just run with it, you know, mm-hmm. see what he would come up with on his own. And he gave us some sort of basic ideas of what he thought would be cool from more of like a not from a storyboarding standpoint, but from like a filming standpoint, like angles and the types of shots he wanted to get. And he used the filmmaker who did The Less I Know the Better by Tame Impala.
Yeah.
He's got some cool stuff out there on 16mm, and he was like, I'm kind of trying to do something like this, where it's a bunch of sporadic scenes, just every 3 seconds, every 5 seconds, every 2 seconds. There's just a new scene, a new person, something different happening that's just constantly visually stimulating. Like, everything is visually stimulating. That way it never gets old. There's never one scene that's too long. And it's not, it takes away some of the effect of it being on the nose, you know, like he didn't want the song lyrics to translate into something visual that would be like, oh man, he said American Dream right as they played like they showed an American flag or whatever.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, we didn't really have a whole lot of influence in what the shots were. If I'm being totally honest, I had hardly anything to do with it. The only thing I told Zach was like, dude, just do whatever you want to do. I have complete faith in you that it's going to be awesome, and that worked out because I think it is awesome. And you know, obviously there's some graphic scenes in there that like you can't watch it work or feel really comfortable showing your grandparents, which I hope they never watch it. But yeah, no, it's I'm really happy with the way it turned out. We are.
I talked a little bit about at the top of the interview about how you guys are pretty popular around Raleigh, but I mean, you're just popular in general. But in the Triangle area specifically, you've been selling out places like crazy. I mean, I look at all these big venues around. Look at Kings, I look at the Poorhouse, and like you're just selling them out like no problem. And your music videos got a couple thousand views. You got a pretty solid social media following. Is all this stuff pretty overwhelming for you? I mean, yeah, I know you have a very business mind and you went to school for it and everything. I know that's probably a lot to do with it, but your music, I mean, people wouldn't follow you unless you had some good music. Do you feel overwhelmed with all the fandom that you guys have created, or are you just kind of like, do you not even worry about that and you just want to make music? Oh, hi, there's Adam, right?
Yeah, hello.
How's it going, bud?
Have a seat, dude. What's up? Who would feel overwhelmed by the amount of, like, he said fandom is the word he used, but like we sold out Kings and Poorhouse, and he's asking if it's overwhelming. I don't think it's overwhelming at all. It feels really good. I mean, I wouldn't really like make it out to be bigger than what it really is. I mean, like we just sold out those venues for the first time this month. We'd never sold out a venue in Raleigh before.
We did sell them out pretty much in the same month.
Yeah, that's the fact that they sold out in the same month is pretty crazy. I think that there's just a lot of hype behind finally getting music out after like 2.5 years of just relentlessly weekend touring and relentlessly asking people to do stuff on Instagram, like our, share this, or, all this stuff. And I think people are finally just kind of like happy that we did something.
They get to finally like reap the benefits too. They get to. I mean, we're releasing music, but people also get something to enjoy too. If someone's been listening to us for a while, they're all of a sudden like, oh, like check out this song they have. This is why I like them. Or like whatever. So I think it's rewarding for like everybody, honestly, and it definitely is not overwhelming. I feel like. I don't know. I feel comfortable. I don't know. It kind of made sense, I guess.
It's gratifying, is what it is, because we've been working real hard. Like earlier, like a month ago, maybe it was a little over a month. We had done 10 weekends in a row of like touring. Like we'd go out on Thursday or Friday, and we'd play 2 or 3 shows, and then we'd come back on Sunday night and go back to work on Monday. And then we did that 10 weeks in a row. And it was, some of it, like there was like 2 weekends where it wasn't touring, it was recording. So it was like,
it was like 3 months straight.
Yeah, it was a long time. It was just like, all right, shows, recording, work. And it was just repeat.
Yeah.
And so to see a bunch of streams, see a bunch of ticket sales like that, it makes it worth it.
You just mentioned the new single that just came out. We mentioned it a little bit at the beginning of the interview and everything, but can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what was the recording process like, and like, what was the inspiration behind the actual song?
From a lyrical standpoint?
Yeah, from a lyrical standpoint more so. Like, if you could talk about like the musical side and also the lyrical side. I imagine they kind of come in different times.
From a lyrical standpoint, the song is sort of like a narrative of somebody that's like way too infatuated to the point where it's sort of dangerous for them. Like it basically creates a sort of like imbalance of love in a relationship.
It's a traumatic relationship that you're just sustaining because that's all you know is good is just pain, I guess, maybe. It's probably too deep.
That's a little too deep, but it's sort of, it's more of like a common thing, like somebody, in a relationship, somebody might love somebody more than another person, like the balance of love is not equal. And so that's sort of like what that's talking about. And that's not through any sort of personal experience or anything. I when I try to come up with ideas, I just try to think of things that are like relatable, something that somebody's gonna feel, and vibe with, but also at the same time being honest, but not necessarily from my own perspective.
Well, again, thank you guys so much for being with me. It's an honor to talk to you. I've been very, very excited to get to talk to you guys. Before we go, I think well, actually, I don't think I know. Before we go, I do a movie show here. I'm a big movie guy. I love film. along with music. And I ask all my guests before we leave, what is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Wow.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one for people to peg down. So
You told me that you were gonna ask this question, and I really didn't think about it. Give me like 20 seconds.
Okay, you go right ahead. Yeah.
Give me 20 seconds to think about this. Favorite movie.
I feel like my favorite like cult movie, like this. I'm just going by I'm just gonna give you a category because I have a lot of favorite movies, but my favorite cult movie is definitely Donnie Darko. That rabbit creature Frank, which is also like, I don't want to spoil the movie, so I won't say anything about it, but that character is phenomenal, super creepy. Like I just love all the imagery in there, and what's great about the movie too is like just like any good song, if you like watch it twice or listen to the song a couple times, you get a little bit more each time, and you finally figure out what the movie's actually about. So Donnie Darko, favorite cult film.
Heard that.
Oh man, I feel like I'm just about to say something just to say.
Okay.
Remember the Titans. It's a classic. Frozen 2.
Oh man, let's go with
Shrek.
Shoot, dude. I'm just gonna say like
Matrix.
Matrix is a good movie, but no, it's not. No. A random movie that I just thought of that I really liked when I was like in high school was this movie called The Lords of Dogtown.
Oh yeah.
Lords of Dogtown?
Lords of Dogtown. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, it's a really cool like
Skater life.
skate surf culture movie. It's got Heath Ledger in it before he died, so it's cool.
Thanks to Arson Daily for sitting down with us and talking all about their music. If you guys want to see more interviews just like this, you can go to facebook.com/Studio67NCC, youtube.com/NashComCollege, or you can find us on Instagram at Studio67NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.